Hello everyone, welcome to our first lecture for CA Final Audit 100% English batch. In this particular lecture, what we are going to cover is what will be our study pattern in all the batches and all the lectures. What is the paper pattern of CA Final Audit? Next, sir, what is audit? We are going to cover the basics of audit, the basic building block of particular CA Final Audit subject, which we are going to cover here. Why audit? What is misstatement? Why we do audit? Now, what are risk? What are controls? What are risk assessment procedure? What is FAP? What is difference between management and TCWG? What is assurance? What are the different types of assurance that we have? What is the audit process, like preliminary activities, planning, execution, reporting? In reporting, what is the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, quantity and quality? What is the syllabus, like why we have this syllabus of CA Final Audit? What is covered in our syllabus? What are the standards that are covered in our syllabus? What are the other chapters? What is the bifurcation of the syllabus and the weightage by discussion of each particular section? What is form? What are the types of opinion? What are different notes that we give in our particular audit report? On what basis we give different types of opinions, and limitation and scope, and a bit about going concern and written representation. Okay, so first of all, I know that you might think, okay, I have already studied this before. I have already studied this in our CA intermediate audit subject. Sir, can we skip this particular lecture? So I will definitely genuinely request you, please do not skip this lecture. You have to watch this lecture from start till the end, because in this particular lecture we are going to build the basis, the foundation of anything which we are going to discuss in our further lectures. So this lecture is going to be the most important lecture for starting your CA Final Audit journey, because what happens is, we in our over smartness or because of our attitude, we just forgot or we just avoid the basics. And if we avoid the basics and we start from the advanced level, then there's no use about it. So you will have to understand the basics first. I will definitely be quite maybe a bit fast paced, but yes, you will have to understand the basics first. You will have to understand why we are doing or why we are studying what we are actually studying, and then we will continue, or then we will start with the CA Final Audit content coverage that we have to write in our exams. So this video is important for you. You have to watch this video, because there may be new things that you might get to know by watching this video. So you will have to watch this video first of all. Secondly, sir, first of all, discussing about the studying pattern. First of all, we have this handwritten notes. What is the handwritten notes, sir? These are the handwritten notes, which obviously I have written by my hand, so that's why I call them handwritten notes. And these are so basically what we do in handwritten notes, all the complex topics, all those topics which are very complex or which are very detailed in our concept book, in our question bank, we try to break down, or we try to simplify them through our handwritten notes. So in the handwritten notes, what we will give you is, we will give you the memory techniques. We will give you that story revise techniques of how you can learn that particular topic through the handwritten notes and through the keywords and what stories you can build around it. So these handwritten notes will be provided to you in a printable PDF. So there are two options to it. First of all, what you can do is, obviously I will just write the handwritten notes myself before the lecture, and then I will present those handwritten notes and make you study from those particular handwritten notes. Obviously, it is not possible to write the handwritten notes in this 45 hours or the batch that we are getting in. But yes, what you have to do is, you have to either two options. You can either write the handwritten notes with me in the class when I am describing it, or when we are studying from the handwritten notes. You can directly write from the handwritten notes in your concept, in your any of the book that you are maintaining for CA Final Audit. Or either, if you do not have that much time to write the handwritten notes yourself, which I will definitely recommend you, because it will definitely help you in your writing practice. Because once you write the handwritten notes, you are writing all the keywords that are most important in CA Final Audit. Okay, yes sir. So try your writing the handwritten notes with me. If you are not able to write the handwritten notes, then what you can do is, you can directly download that particular PDF of handwritten notes, and you can take a printout of it. So we do not provide that printed form of handwritten notes, because we encourage you to write the handwritten notes yourself. If you don't have that time of writing the handwritten notes, then you can either take a printout, or if the printout is much costlier in your region, in your locality, then you can directly order from the website as well. We have a different printed section of handwritten notes available on the website as well. Okay, yes sir. Now Now, how you will access the handwritten notes, why buying this lecture was your best decision of your life for getting this CA final audit lecture, and many other things which are important, like how you will have to message your doubts, and how do you can access your lectures, and how you can access any other thing that you want. We have already covered in an intro video. So there is an intro video in your software in which we have covered everything. It's of around maybe 5 to 10 minutes, in which we have covered everything of how you can access the lectures and everything that I have detailed here. That intro video will be uploaded in your software on 1st Feb. On 1st Feb, I will upload an intro video in your software which will cover everything on basics, like how you have to access the lectures and how you have to access the handwritten notes. So from that you can access the handwritten notes, and then you can download and print the handwritten notes as per your wish. First is the handwritten notes. Now first, what we will do is, first for any topic we will start from the handwritten notes. We will study what is written in the handwritten notes, or what the topic says about it in the handwritten notes. Then what we will do is, so in the handwritten notes I have mentioned the keywords, all the keywords that are relevant, all the keywords that ICI wants or ICI gives marks for. I have mentioned all the keywords in the handwritten notes. So first we will study a concept from the handwritten notes. Now secondly, that particular concept, all those keywords that we have already studied in the handwritten notes, how we have to mention in our answer sheet. Obviously we cannot just mention the keywords, we have to mention some story around it, some words around it. So what words, in what context we have to use the handwritten notes, or in what context we have to use the keywords, is mentioned in our concept book. So concept book is basically, okay, let me show you our concept book as well, just a second, so that you just get a feel of how we are going to particularly go about our lecture and go about a concept testing and question solving. First of all, so this is our concept book. This is our concept book. Just a second. Yes, this is going to be your first lecture, that is SQC1 and SQ220. So what we have done in the concept book is, you can see that we have shown a table wise presentation. So in the table wise presentation, what we have done is, we have highlighted all the keywords in red, particularly all the keywords that ICI gives marks for. All the keywords are highlighted in red, and the headings are highlighted in black, and rest all things is written in dark blue. So basically now when you are reading from the concept book, obviously concept book and question bank will be delivered to you if you buy the with books options. So when you are reading from the concept book, this concept book will give you an instant attention, or instant what you can say, your eyes will instantly go to the keywords that is mentioned in the concept book, and these same keywords are mentioned in the handwritten notes as well. So first we will study everything from the handwritten notes from that particular topic. Now that particular topic we will be studying from the concept book directly. So basically that will be our second revision when we are studying from the concept book. Now thirdly, after this concept book is done, we have a question bank. So what is the question bank, sir? We have two parts of the question bank. As you can see, there is part 1 of the question bank, here is part 1 of the question bank, and there is part 2 of the question bank. So what is the difference between the part 1 and part 2 of the question bank? So part 1 of the question bank covers all your analytical, all your interpretational questions, those case study based question on which we are very confused. Okay, what ICI wants to ask, what we should write, how much we should write, and anything and everything. So all the analytical, all the interpretational, where we have to actually apply our mind, are all the questions that are covered in this part 1 of the question bank. So what is the part 2 then? Those questions which are direct questions, which ICI makes a case study but ask a direct question at the end of the question. So at the from the last line we can obviously understand what ICI wants to ask. So that particular line, or those particular questions which are direct questions, which we don't have to apply our mind on, if we know the answer then we can directly write the answer, those questions are called direct questions, and which we have covered in the part 2 of the question bank. So why this distinction between the part 1 and part 2? Because if you have time, if you have so much of the time, if you have enough time, then you can do both of the question bank, part 1 and part 2 as well. But if you are less on time, if you are short on time, and if you want to do all the tricky questions, all those interpretational analytical questions, then you can just follow this part 1 of the question bank. You don't have to even look at the part 2 of the question bank, because part 2 of the question bank will automatically be covered in our concept book. Okay, yes sir. So this is a part 1 of the question bank. So how we have planned our question bank is, or how we have designed our question bank is, we have given a sequence wise questions in our question bank. So basically what we will do is, suppose we have done the first topic, leadership responsibility for quality within the firm, from our handwritten notes. We have understood how we will remember the keywords, what is the memory technique, and what is the basically flow of writing the answer. Then we will move back to our concept book. We will discuss that topic from the particular concept book, how those keywords are used used in the context of the concept book. We will read the concept book. Then we will do all the questions that are particularly relevant to that topic from our question bank itself. So we have divided the question bank into topic wise and sequence wise compared to the concept book, so that after reading that particular topic from the concept book, we can directly jump to that particular question from the question bank as well. So this is the linkage that we have from all the three materials: handwritten notes, concept book, and question bank. And in the question bank itself, it's not just black and white question bank. We will just highlight the keywords or bold the keywords. This is the color coded question bank that you are going to get, because in the color coded question bank, what we have done is the heading is obviously in the black and bold and underlined. The question is in the black. The sources, we have mentioned all the sources from May 18 till yours January 26. We have mentioned all the sources. Like here you can see in green all the sources are mentioned, so that you know which question has come for how many times in the particular previous exams, so that you know its relevance and importance. Then we have given an answer word, and then we have given your answer in color coded format. Even the questions, not just the answer. Okay, so answer is obviously the keywords are highlighted in red and everything is done in red, but in the questions as well we have highlighted the question. So here you see the highlight. This is the same highlight that you will get in your printed book as well. In the printed book also you will get this highlighted questions, so that in your 1.5 days when you just want to skim through all the questions, then you can directly just read all the questions from the highlighted part, and then you can directly read the answers from the highlighted part, and then you will get to know what is required in the question and what is written in the answer. So this is the mind that we have applied. This is the efforts that we are taking in building each and everything that we are doing for you guys for CA final audit. So this is the approach, the study pattern. First of all, we will be studying from the handwritten notes. The same concept we will be studying from the concept book, and the same concepts, all the questions we will be doing from the question bank, which is color coded, as you can see from the screen. Okay, yes sir, all the questions of the question bank that is in the part 1 of the question bank, 100% questions will be solved in the class. Don't worry about it. Okay, yes sir. Next, after doing this, I will be uploading a quick recap video on your software itself. Sir, what is a quick recap video? So basically, suppose we have done a topic, suppose SQC1 and SQ220, we have just done it. Okay, now I will be uploading a quick recap video of maybe you can say 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. In those 10 to 15 minutes, I will be covering that particular topic SQC1 and SQ220 in a very fast way, but I will be basically revising the particular topic in a very fast way, so that what will happen is, you have just watched the lecture, you have just written your handwritten notes, you have followed the concept book, you have read the concept book once, and you have done your question bank. Now when again you want to revise those topics, you can directly follow our quick recap videos, and you can instantly revise all the topics, quickly revise all the topics. Because if you see, if I have just to give you metrics or just to give you a perspective, we have covered 100% CA final audit syllabus in this quick recap marathon in just 8 hours. 100% CA final syllabus in just 8 hours in Hindi language. Obviously for English language we will see whether it is more or less, but yeah, it will be around approx 8 hours only. So in 8 hours we will be covering the 100% syllabus of CA final audit with these quick recap videos, which will be available in your software only, which will be available on the software only, which to our batch students only. Okay, yes sir. Next and the last and the most important thing is, it's not just about the batch, it's not just about all the material and the resources, it's also about the support that we are going to provide you till the exams. Anything and everything which you can think of, which you haven't thought earlier, which you do not know about, we are and we will be providing everything that you will be demanding, you will be asking for, and you will be wishing for, or you will be requesting for, because we have n number of resources. We have already provided n number of resources. I am just I cannot name all the resources in this particular video. This is a launch video, obviously this is the first demo lecture, so I will not be able to name all the resources. But if you have seen the launch video of our batch, then you know that I have given the list of all the resources that we have provided for the Hindi media or the Hindi students, but we will be providing all those resources to English students as well very soon. So yes, we are going to give you a support till the exams, and obviously you have my number, and the way, the format that you have to ask your doubts in is written in the, is shown in the intro video. So do watch out for the intro video as well on first web. Okay, yes sir, this is going to be a study pattern. I hope you are very clear about it. You will be getting the printed version of concept book and question bank, where if you are buying with books option, and handwritten notes will be provided to you in the printable PDF. You have an option either to write yourself, either to print yourself, or directly buy on the website as well. Okay, yes sir. So next we have to discuss about the paper pattern. I know you know the paper pattern. What I have told you is, this is the first lecture. You have to watch the first lecture, because in the paper pattern also I will be touching those points which will be relevant or which will be helpful in your studies. So you will have to watch this lecture fully. That's the promise to me, that you are going to watch this lecture fully. Okay, now talking about the paper pattern, we have an 100 marks paper. Wow sir, wow sir, wow, we do not know about it. We have a 100 marks paper, sir. Hey, don't do like this, huh? Don't do like this. So we have a 100 marks paper. 70 marks is for the descriptive. Okay, I know that you know it. Plus, please, 70 marks descriptive paper, 30 marks MCQs. Okay, now how we will have to approach the descriptive and the MCQ separately. Let's talk about the descriptive first. So descriptive, if I have to talk about, ICAI is not giving that tough level of descriptive, but yes, either it is above average or it is average. I can say that the descriptive in the new course, obviously I'm talking about the new course. In the new course, the descriptive is either above average or average. And talking about MCQs, the MCQs are never average. MCQs are always targeted by ICAI for CA final audit in the new course. So MCQs are either above average or tough. It has never been average. So you have to think from that perspective. You have to plan from that perspective. So to talk about descriptive, now in descriptive there are two questions which have two types of questions which we have already described. There can be direct question and there can be conceptual interpretational questions. All the direct questions are covered in part 2 of the question bank. Now if you have time, if you have enough time, if you have only audit subject to do, then you can obviously go for the part 2 of the question bank. You can do part 2 of the question bank, and if you are not doing part 2 of the question bank, then no worry about it, because we are already going to cover all the each and everything in the concept book. Don't worry about it. Now secondly, we have this conceptual or interpretational questions which are all covered in your part 1 of the question bank, which will be 100% solved in the class. 100% questions will be solved in the class. Now thirdly, many students ask me, okay sir, can I follow this question bank approach, sir? What is question bank approach? So I will not study concept book. I will just study the question and I will just study the answers. So this is not the approach that I would recommend you. Any of the student, I won't recommend you to follow a question bank approach, because in the new course, in the CA final audit new course, ICAI is not repeating the questions. The concepts may be repeated, but the questions are not repeated. So if you are doing the questions, then there's no guarantee that even if you will get 40 marks questions that are repeated. But if you will follow the concept book, if you will just do the concept book and the part 1 of the question bank, then there is high probability, or obviously there is a guarantee that you will see all the questions from the concept book and the question bank. So that's the case. Don't follow question bank approach. It's what's my strategy or advice would be. First of all, we are done with the descriptive. There are two types of descriptive, and we know how we have to tackle those descriptive. Obviously we will do everything, or I cannot tell you everything in this first lecture only, but yes, we will be covering different strategies. I will be telling between the lectures. I will be sharing my strategies, sharing my learnings, sharing those nuances, those detailings that we will be covering in the different lectures. And when obviously I will be having that space and mind to talk about it in through our lectures. Okay, yes sir. Next is 30 marks MCQs. Okay, so MCQs mein there are two types of MCQs. There are 2-3 independent MCQs which I say ask, and there are 2-3 case scenarios. So basically one case scenario, and then there are 2-3 MCQs based on the case scenario. So these are the two type of MCQs that I say ask. So for MCQs, as maybe a different thing, or maybe putting more efforts or specific efforts for MCQs, that's not required. If you are doing your concept book very thoroughly, if you are understanding all the concepts very thoroughly, then you will be able to crack MCQs. Okay, sir, MCQ. What we will do for MCQs then, sir? How we will prepare for MCQs? Then what you can do is, we have an MCQ booklet for MCQs that we prepared obviously quite months before. We will be obviously covering, or we will be refreshing those MCQ booklet for your attempt as well. We are planning to do it just after the batches recording is over. We will definitely plan to refresh your MCQ booklet. So what we can do is, obviously all the MCQ points that are already asked by the ICAI, or that can be asked by the ICAI, will be be provided or will be shown to you in the class itself. I will tell you, okay, this is an MCQ point, this was asked by ICI, this may be asked by ICI, and right there MCQ point. I have already highlighted in the concept book and the handwritten notes as well that these are the MCQ points, so you don't have to worry about it. Now solving the MCQ, actually solving the MCQ, how to approach an MCQ, all these will be covered. We will try to cover in the MCQ marathon that I will possibly be taking live, or maybe we can upload a YouTube video for all the MCQ solutions as well, basically solving all the MCQ booklet that we have. That we are definitely going to try. But for MCQ, as I have always said, you don't have to do anything specific different for or separate for MCQs. If you are doing your concept book thoroughly, if you are understanding all the concepts thoroughly, then you will be able to crack those MCQs as well, because obviously there are two types of MCQs. One is purely based on conceptual clarity and the other is purely based on your learning, because ICI has already asked, ICI do ask the steps of performance audit, right? The sequence, right? The steps in sequence of performance audit. So you have to obviously see from both the perspective. There is a conceptual understanding for required from few MCQs, and for few MCQs there is a pure learning that is required. Okay, yes sir. This is our paper pattern for our CA final audit. Now the most rhetorical question, and the first and the last, and many times even till now, many students, I'm sure you would be also having in your mind, some might have told it, some might have just didn't tell me, but yeah, you will definitely hear it from your friends, from your mentors, from everyone around. If you are following my concept book, then everyone will say you, is this concept book enough? Is this concept book enough? Because this concept book is of just 160 pages. In just, yes, you read that right. This is the concept book. This is the concept book that we are going to give you. And this concept book is of just 160 pages. In 160 pages, we have covered the 100% relevant portion for you in our CA final audit syllabus. I know you might think, sir, this is joke. This is just a pure joke. You are joking, sir, because I have seen all the materials of CA final audit. I know that there's any faculty that have covered in 300, or there is approx averagely it's around 300 to 350 pages. That's not the case. How can you cover CA final audit 100% relevant portion in 160 pages? So first of all, I just want your promise. I just request you to trust me. Trust not just me, on any of the faculty that you are going to follow for your CA final audit preparations. Please trust your faculty. If he is a faculty, if he has been teaching from 1.5 to 2 years, if he have already taught thousands of students, then he knows what he is providing and he knows how to provide it. And not to tell you, I have already got All India Rank 5 at CA final audit, All India Rank 5 at CA intermediate, All India Rank 6 at CA final, and All India 32 at CA foundation. I have scored 95 marks in CA intermediate audit. That is the ever highest marks in the history of ICI. So I clearly know what ICI wants in audit subject, how ICI want it, and how much content we have to write to get those 4 marks and 5 marks, that 100% marks. And trust me, I won't play with your career. So if I have designed a concept book that is of 160 pages, then I have a proof and I have a strong backing about it. So first of all, not to tell you everything, first of all, ICI study material is best. I'm not kidding. I'm not doubting about it. ICI study material is best. If you want to go for something, and if you have time, if you have all the energy in the world, if you have just audit subject to study, then I will genuinely recommend you to go for ICI module, because ICI module is the Bhagavad Gita for us when we are a CA student. But there are few flaws in the ICI module. Like maybe you can say that the overall structure is not that good. Maybe you can say that there are many things in the ICI module that are not asked in the exams, but we tend to focus on all those things which are obviously not relevant from our exam perspective. The ICI module is quite bulky because it is almost impossible to cover 100% of the ICI module in 1.5 days. Third, the ICI module itself doesn't have all the content, because in many of the essays the ICI has written that they will be asked from the CA inter level. We have already studied from the CA inter level, so they will be asked from the CA inter level. Few questions ICI ask from pronouncements as well. So even the ICI module that is of 1000 of the pages is not 100% complete in itself. But ICI module is the best. You have to, if you have time, if you have willingness, if you are definitely only audit subject to study, then you can go for ICI module, no doubt about it. But what we have done in this concept book of 160 pages is we understand the pain point of students. We understand, sir, we are not able to study 300 and 350 pages. Even we are not able to study 300, 350 pages in the 1.5 days. We do not have those concise concept book which can definitely summarize all the content, or which can give all the content that we have to write in the exams. We do not know how much to write, what words to focus on, and each and every pain point is covered in this particular 160 pages concept book that we are going to provide. Okay, let me be very honest, let me be very truthful, because sir, it seems like a gimmick. Like we have seen faculties providing 300, 350 pages concept book, and you are providing 160 pages concept book. Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you very honestly, what I have done is I have done a space optimization technique. Now, what is space optimization? So I have utilized the space of the pages very effectively by doing a table wise presentation. So you will not find this table wise presentation anywhere. I have done this table wise presentation. So if I have not, in case if I do not do this table wise presentation, so what we will do is this particular concept will flow to the lines, and this particular concept will go beneath that particular above concept. So in a way, we have covered 300, 350 pages content in these 160 pages just because of the table formatting that we do. So this is space optimization. This is not content cutting. This is not topics cutting. This is just a space optimization technique that we have used. Otherwise, everything is same. Everything is covered. Now, obviously, sir, this is not the first time that we are releasing this concept book or something like, okay, we have not tested this concept book. This concept book is already tested in the past 4 attempts: November 24, May 25, September 25, and January 26. And in all the 4 attempts, we have shown the coverage of more than 110 marks out of 118 marks. Yes, you read that right. We have had a coverage from this particular concept book of 110 plus marks in each of the attempts. So that proves that everything that is relevant for your CA final audit is covered in just 160 pages. And we have to understand that in audit, what matters more is keywords. I have done 4 times 500 plus certified copy analysis for CA final audit in each of the attempts, and I have told you, like I have shown obviously to the Hindi students, it was in Hindi. I have made videos of around 1 and 1.5 hours to show them how ICI gives marks, why ICI cut marks, why ICI give you mark, and on what exact words ICI gives you marks. And those are the keywords. If you are writing the keywords, you will get the marks. Just keep this in your mind, and keep this is in your heart, that if you are writing the keywords, you will get the marks. If you are not writing the keywords, then you will not get even a single mark. Even similar words, similar meaning don't get marks. If you are writing the keywords, then only you will get the marks. And if you are studying those thousands of the pages or 300, 400 of the pages, then you will be just lost in all the paragraphs and the words. But if you are studying this 160 pages very dedicatedly, very concentratedly, and doing multiple revisions of this 160 pages concept book, then you will be able to understand and learn those keywords very well. I genuinely tell students, you have 2 options: either to study the syllabus 100% even one time, or either to study the 60% syllabus, even the 60% of the syllabus, but 2 times. You should always choose studying 60% syllabus 2 times, because that will improve your keywords accuracy, and then they will improve your marks. Because if you're studying 100% syllabus one time for 15 days, 20 days, and if you're not able to revise it, then you will not remember those keywords. You will obviously be able to conceptualize audit. You will obviously understand audit in a better very conceptual way, that next day you can become an engagement partner of the listed entity. What is an engagement partner, I will tell you. But yes, you will have to understand that keywords are the main thing in audit. If you're not writing the keywords, then it's done. And this is the particular disadvantage of following that ICI study material, that we do not have that time to go through all the pages, highlight all the keywords ourselves, and then learn all the keywords and cover that concept, cover that study material in the 1.5 pages that we are solving with this 160 pages concept book. And at last, just one more thing. If you are saying, okay, sir, this is 160 pages is very less for me, I want to cover more, I am challenging you. Whenever you have your exams, May 26 or any of the attempts that you have, I'm challenging you. If you can study this 160 pages strong enough that you are able to say, okay, I can score 4 on 4 marks and 5 on 5 marks on any of the topics that is asked in 160 pages concept book. Then after that we will discuss and cover many other things as well. But till that, if you do not do this 160 pages thoroughly and learn those 160 pages thoroughly, please focus on this 160 pages only. And let me tell you, you won't be able to even do this 160 pages thoroughly. So please focus, please understand, and please trust me. And obviously, before doing anything, before saying you anything, I can definitely show you my results as well. This is the results of Ankush Sharma classes from past year attempt. This is our September 25 CA final results. You can see all the All India ranks. You can see all the exemption holders. These are all the students who have studied from us, who have referred our revision videos, batches, one-on-one mentorship program, test series that we have all provided. This is our CA final May 25 results, all the All India rankers and the exemption holders. And this is our November 24 results that you can see. So the results speak for us. I don't have to speak much, but the results speak for us. Now let's get back to the batch. This is the batch that we are going to cover in this particular lecture. Obviously, in all the lectures that we are going to cover, this is going to be 100% English exam oriented fast track batch. Now, what will be there in the English exam oriented fast track batch? There will be weekly live guidance sessions. Obviously, there may be, it may be on Sunday, Monday. Obviously, the links of the live guidance session and the timings of the live guidance sessions will be shared on your private Telegram group. Private Telegram group will be sent on your order confirmation mail. Everything is detailed in your intro video that I have covered in the software that will be uploaded on the software. I will tell you how you have to follow everything, so you can definitely follow from the intro video. So weekly we will do live guidance sessions. Post your batches completed, we will be doing this weekly live guidance session. This is applicable for all those attempts. Everything is covered, everything is amended as per May 26 and onwards attempt. Any of the amendments that cover after these attempts will be shared with you in PDF and a YouTube solution video as well. Okay, yes, so the duration will be approx 45 hours. This is our USP. In 45 hours we will be covering 100% concepts with 100% questions solved in the class. And how will doing 45 hours in the solving 100% concepts and 100% questions, that you can see from these demo lectures only. If you have not purchased the batch yet, then you can see from the demo lectures only that will be uploaded on the YouTube. That will be obviously it will be a fresh and latest recordings. The recordings will be uploaded on the software from 1st Feb, and we are definitely trying to complete the batch by 28th Feb only. And obviously this is an exam oriented batch. In 45 hours we have to cover 100%, so it is going to be quite fast paced and exam focused, and it is going to be ideal for repeaters or anytime second time readers who are aiming for maximum output in minimum time. Writing practice will be done in the class with the handwritten notes. I will be making the handwritten notes, and then you will be have to make handwritten notes with me, so that your writing practice is done in the class. Multiple revisions will be done in the class itself, from first from handwritten notes, then from concept book, then from question bank, and then you will see the quick recap video. So multiple revisions will be done in the class itself. 100% concepts and 100% questions. You will get a free mock test paper for detailed evaluation. I will definitely be monitoring your personal checking of the copy, and you will get a free mock test paper evaluation facility just after your batch end. Private Telegram group will be link will be provided in your order confirmation mail. My personal doubt support number will be given to you. You can see the intro video for that. Batch material, obviously I have told you about anything about the batch material. On website you can buy our classes, ankushsharmaclasses.com. Now how you have to buy on website, just a quick glance on the website if you have not bought it yet. So you can directly buy from the website. This is our website, ankushsharmaclasses.com. You will go to the lectures, then you will go to CA final audit, then you will go to exam oriented batch 45 hours. After that you will see 4 the batches. Now these 2 batches are 100% English exam oriented batches. You will click whether you want with books or without books, and then you will see all the details. If you want the books earlier, then you can go for express delivery, either you can go for standard delivery as well. Now on the prices, we have currently the discount is going on till 31st January only. We will not be extending the discount till 31st January. Use coupon code batch 500 to get a 500 rupees discount. And everything obviously we have detailed, discussed. Just few things, 1.7 views and 1 year validity, and everything that is mentioned on the website. You can see all the sample documents from here as well. We have uploaded all the sample documents here. Okay, yes sir. So these were our batch details. Quickly I have covered all the batch details. Now let's move on to starting the first demo lecture of our CA final audit English batch, and starting the actual content of our CA final audit English batch. I have covered everything, detailed you everything, how we are going to process, how we are going to move forward in our lectures. And now we are starting with the first word that comes to our mind when we hear the CA final, that is audit. So now, sir, what is audit? So first of all, let me tell you, audit is that particular thing that you have been doing it from your childhood. Oh my God, what you're saying, sir? I have just heard the audit in my CA examinations. How we are doing audit from childhood? Let me tell you, when you gave your exams in your school. Oh, sir, please, sir, please don't make us remind about our exams, sir. You can make us remind about our fun, about our musty, about all the enjoyment that we do in school. But please don't make us remind about our exams, sir. That is hell, sir. All the comparisons, all the competition. I don't want to remember that. But yes, you can one thing learn from your examinations. So whenever you attended an exam, you write your answer sheets, and teacher checked your answer sheets, your faculty checked your answer sheets with the answers that she has made from the question papers. Now, same as what ICI does, you write your answer sheet, you write your papers, and then ICI check those question papers, your answer sheet, with the suggested answers. In ICI language, it is a suggested answer. So what ICI is doing is, ICI is matching, or ICI is checking your answer sheet against the suggested answer, to check if you have written the suggested answer correctly or not. If you have written the answer sheet correctly or not, ICI is checking this. And this checking, in simple words, is called audit. So if I have to describe you audit as a layman, as a 5-year-old kid, when I am checking your answer sheet against a suggested answer, it is called audit. So audit is basically checking something against something. So now what audit is actually, when we are talking about CA final audit syllabus, what audit was actually stand for is, we check financial statements. Now, what is financial statements, sir? We have already know about it, sir. Financial statements means our profit and loss account, our balance sheet, our cash flow statement, notes to account, our statement of changes in equity, everything combined is called financial statements. So here we are checking financial statements. So, sir, answer sheets were checked against the suggested answer. So in case of financial statements, we are checking the financial statements against which? Against what? So we have already studied in your CA intermediate about accounting standards, about schedule 3. If you have already done your financial reporting, then you know about Ind AS, Indian accounting standards. So basically, we make our financial statements according to our Ind AS. And those collectively are called applicable financial reporting framework. Oh my God, sir, this is a very big term, sir. I do not understand this term, sir. Please explain this term. First of all, let me tell you, we are using all the short forms here. In the brackets, we have given the short forms, and we will be using all the short forms in the book as well, in the handwritten notes as well, for our easy for our convenience. But in the examination, you cannot use any of the short forms. Short forms are not allowed, even for financial statements, even for any of the common words as well. You have to write full forms only. Please keep that in mind, otherwise you will lose your marks. Okay, so now coming back to the topic, I was saying that the financial statements are checked against all the AS, Ind AS, Schedule 3, and those AS, Ind AS, Schedule 3 are collectively called Applicable Financial Reporting Framework, in short AFRF. Now, sir, what is Applicable Financial Reporting Framework? Let's break it and understand. Financial reporting means the process of preparing the financial statements. How we are, first of all, there is journal entry, then there is ledger, then there is trial balance, and then there is a financial. So all the process of preparing the financial statements is called financial reporting. Basically, you can say it is accounting. So what is the meaning of framework? Framework is basically rules and regulations. You can say the rules and regulation of doing something is framework. And combined, if we combine this three words, financial reporting framework. Now what we will get is, these are the criteria or the rules based on which the financial statements are prepared. So this is the process, these are the rules. So based on which the framework, the criteria, the rules based on which the financial statements are prepared is called financial reporting framework. And these financial reporting framework are constituents. The constituents of these are Schedule 3, are Ind AS, are AS. So this I understand, but why this word applicable is written over here? Because can you say that in all entities Ind AS and AS is applicable? No, sir. In small companies, AS is applicable. In listed big companies, Ind AS is applicable. In profit-oriented companies, we make profit and loss account. In non-profit-oriented entities, we make income and expenditure account, receipts and payment account. So basically, it's not that the financial reporting framework is the same for all the companies. It depends on many of the factors. One of the factors is the nature of the entity. So based on nature of the entity, if it's listed in Ind AS small, then AS profit oriented, then profit and loss account, non-profit oriented, then income and expenditure. Based on the nature of entity, these financial reporting frameworks are applicable to that particular entity. So if I am auditing a listed company, what I have to do is I have to check the financial statements against that particular applicable financial reporting framework that is applicable to that particular listed entity. And that is why it is called applicable financial reporting framework. So in the listed entity, what financial reporting framework is applicable? That is Ind AS. So it says that the particular applicable financial reporting framework, we have to check based on that whether the financial statements are made or not, because that is our only thing. That is the basic thing that we have to do as an auditor, is to check whether the financial statements are prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework or not. Whether you have to learn this term financial statements, applicable financial reporting framework, no, not necessarily, not consciously, because these are the terms which you will be using or which will be hearing in all the CA final audit syllabus multiple of the times. So you will eventually learn these concepts and learn these topics and learn these words subconsciously. So you don't have to consciously learn these words. You will be hearing many of the times. Everything that we are going to cover in this basic lecture today, we will be hearing every word in all our CA final audit syllabus multiple of the times. So you don't have to learn anything. You don't have to write these handwritten notes because these are not relevant those for your exam, but you have to understand these topics very carefully. Okay? Yes, sir. Before moving further, let me request you one thing. First of all, like this video if you are watching it on YouTube. Like this video to make your attendance, and also comment down CA with your name so that you make a manifestation to the God that you are definitely going to clear your CA final audit in your attempt. Okay? Yes, sir. Chali. So what I was saying again that audit is when we are checking the financial statement against the applicable financial reporting framework. So if the financial statements are made exactly as per the applicable financial reporting framework, means the financial statements are prepared as per Ind AS, AS, Schedule 3, whichever law applies to that particular entity, the financial statements are exactly made as per that law. But what if the financial statements are not made as per applicable financial reporting framework? If there is any difference between the financial statements and the applicable financial reporting standards, then it is called misstatement. The keyword here is misstatement. The statement that you have prepared is miss. Miss means wrong. So you have prepared a wrong statement that we called as a misstatement. Now this misstatement in the financial statement is maybe due to fraud or error. What is the difference between fraud and error, sir? Fraud is basically intentional. The management or maybe the person who is preparing the financial statements is intentionally making wrong financial statements. Then we call that the financial statements has fraud in it. And secondly, what is error? Error is unintentional. So I do not know, or maybe without any intentions, I just did anything which is wrong, and I prepared the financial statements in a wrong way. That is called that there are error in the financial statements. The misstatement is because of an error in the financial statements. So misstatement can be either, okay, here, look here, look here, look here. We are saying that the difference between the financial statements and the applicable financial reporting framework is called misstatement. Perfect. The misstatement can be because of two of the reasons, either due to fraud or either due to error. Now suppose I am an auditor. I am auditing a company which has a profit of 1 crore rupees. Now, okay, what is an auditor first? An auditor is a person who does audit. So basically, for checking whether the financial statements are prepared as per the applicable financial reporting framework or not, the company hires an auditor. Auditor is the person who does audit. So suppose I am the auditor. Now, the financial statements which I am auditing, in that the profit is of 1 crore. If the profit is of 1 crore and I get to know a difference between the financial statements and the AFRF, that is, I get to know a misstatement of suppose rupees 1. The profit is 1 crore rupees and I get to know the difference is the misstatement is of 1 rupees. Now think logically. Will it be concerning for me as an auditor? Will I be so much concerned? Oh my God, there is 1 crore rupees a profit, but there is 1 rupee of misstatement in the financial statements. I should check this misstatement very thoroughly. Should I be so much confused or so much involved or so much thorough with even 1 rupee or even those small misstatement? Then you will have to understand, and here comes the context of audit. So audit, when does the audit start? Post your financial statements are made. Suppose till 15th April 2026, management they prepared the financial statements. Then generally in listed entities, we get 45 days from the end of the financial year, which means that we have time till 15th May 2026 to audit the financial statements. Obviously, the processes are starting much before that, but the financial statements are prepared. Suppose 1st to 15th April, the management prepares the financial statements, and we have just 1 month to prepare the financial statement. And financial statements is not just your amount checking. It has many of the things that we have to check as an auditor. So it is not possible for us as an auditor. Practically, it is not possible for us that we think of, or we are thorough with even smallest of the amount of the misstatement. We have to look at the bigger picture. We have to look at the bigger things. So it is said that even if there is a misstatement, the auditor is only concerned with material misstatement. Now, what is material misstatement? Material here means bigger. We are only concerned with bigger misstatements. We are not concerned with smaller misstatements. We can say, hope you have heard that dialogue. I hope you have heard that dialogue. थप्पड़ से डर नहीं लगता साहब, प्यार से लगता है. So in that way, so basically it's saying that I am not afraid of the slap, I am afraid of the love. And that way we are also, as an auditor, not afraid of the misstatement. We are afraid of material misstatement. We are afraid of those big misstatement. Now, sir, which misstatement is big, which misstatement is small? Who will decide that? Who will decide which misstatement is big and which misstatement is small? Because it is a very subjective decision. It depends on person to person. For me, it can be a big statement. For you, a big misstatement. For you, it can be a small misstatement. So it depends on the judgment of the auditor, whether a misstatement is big or small. Just like it depends on the judgment of our mummy, whether we want to eat half roti or a full roti. So suppose we are eating and we told our mom, okay, mom, please give us half chapati. We want half chapati. From our point of view, half chapati is exactly half, 50% of the chapati. But from mother's love point of view, half chapati is 75% of the chapati. If we will have half chapati, no, she will just cut the 75% of the chapati and give to us and say, this is half only, this is half only. So for her, this is half, 75% is half. For us, 50% is half. So just from this example, I want to tell you that which misstatement is big, which is small, is basically a subjective decision, and it is on the basis of the judgment of the auditor whether this misstatement is big or whether this misstatement is small. But how, as an auditor, we will decide whether this misstatement is big or small? That is on the basis of a metric. What is that metric, sir? A metric which sources or which emanates from users of financial statements. Now, who are the users of financial statements? The one who uses the financial statements for their purposes. Wow, sir, what a definition. It's all the same thing. The examples I will give you. The shareholders, which sees how much dividend will we get, how is the profit of the company doing, what is the growth in the share prices of the company because of the financial statements. The creditors, whether the company will be able to return their dues or not. Government, how much tax liability we have to collect from the company. Financial institutions, whether their loan will be repaid or not. Employees, whether they will get any bonus or not. General public, whether how is the company doing, how is the growth of the company. So there are n number of users of the financial statements, and the misstatement is material if the misstatement can influence the economic decisions of the users of the financial statements. Okay, I know that may get out of your head. Okay, first of all, again, I am saying we do not care about the misstatement. We care only about the material misstatement. Now, which misstatement is material is based on the premise, is based on the topic that whether it influences the decisions of the users of financial statements. For an example, if I have to give you an example, suppose I am the user of financial statements. Suppose I am a potential investor in the company. Okay, now I get to know that the company has 1 crore 1 CR of profit. Okay, and I get to know that the company has a misstatement of 1 rupees. Now, as an investor, my economic decision is whether to invest in the company or not. Okay, if this misstatement can influence, can change my economic decision, then this misstatement will be considered as a material misstatement. Now, here if the profit is 1 crore and here if the misstatement is 1 rupee and I get to know that there is a misstatement of 1 rupee, will I change my economic decision of investing in a company having 1 crore profit? No, sir. A logical, reasonable man will say no. Obviously, there is a 1 rupee misstatement, but I don't care about it because there is a profit of 1 crore rupees. Now, if the situation is reversed, if the misstatement is of 10 lakh rupees and the profit is of 1 crore rupees, now as an investor, will I be concerned about it? Yes. Now my economic decision will be influenced. Now I will think whether I should invest in this company or not. So now this misstatement has become material misstatement. So judgment will be of auditor, but auditor will think from the point of view of users of financial statements, whether this misstatement can influence the economic decision of users of financial statements. If yes, then only I will consider it as a material misstatement. Okay, yes sir, and obviously it is subjective. It is based on the professional judgment of the auditor whether this misstatement is material misstatement or not. Okay, yes sir. Next. Okay, now we have understood what is audit and what is material misstatement. Now let's understand why audit. Why do we do audit? Okay, so I give you an example. The investor wants to hold shares in the company. The investor wants to invest in the company. Government wants to collect tax from the company. The bank wants to give loan to the company. But based on what? Based on what we will just assume, okay, so how much loan the bank should give? Should the bank give loan or not? How much tax the government should collect? On what basis we will calculate this? On financial statement basis. On the basis of financial statement, the investor will decide if he have to invest or not. The government will collect tax based on the profit shown in the financial statements. The bank will decide whether it has to give loan based on the financial statements are doing well or not. Financial position is good or not. So these financial statements are prepared by management. Who is management, sir? Basically, entities' top officers prepares those financial statements which are relied on, which are trusted on by all the users of the financial statements. These are obviously the users of the financial statements, and they are relying on, they are trusting on the financial statements which are prepared by the management. Now, sir, who is management? First of all, let's discuss about what is management or who is management. So we have two terms here. One is management and one is those charged with governance. Again, one is management and second is those charged with governance. In short form, we can use TCWG. So management and those charged with governance. Who is the management, sir? Management are those persons which are actually involved in managing the entity, which are actually involved in day-to-day affairs of the entity. For example, they are the CEO, the CFO, the senior managers, the senior officers which are actually involved in execution of the company or the activities of the company. They are called management, and they are responsible for preparation of the financial statements. They are the ones who prepare actually the financial statements. Obviously, not the CFO, not the CEO, their staff prepares the financial statement, but they are responsible for the preparation of the financial statements. The financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. It is their responsibility. Okay, yes sir, this is done. Now secondly, there are those charged with governance. Who are those charged with governance, sir? Those people who have the governance charge of the entity, who are responsible for the strategic direction of the entity, and what products, and what services, in what direction with the entity has to flow, where it is going, why it is going, all those things. The bigger people, the upper level people are those charged with governance. For example, these are the board of directors. You have studied in the law what are board of directors. Who are board of directors? The audit committee which takes all the decisions of the audit. They are those charged with governance. Sir, this is the difference between management and TCWG. Sir, why we are comparing the management and TCWG? That we will obviously get to know once we are done with the syllabus and once we do the syllabus. But for now, you just have to know that the management is the one which is responsible for preparation of the financial statements, not the TCWG. But TCWG oversee, TCWG review the work that is done by the management. Just checks. Basically, TCWG checks whether the management is doing their work properly or not. Okay, yes sir. The primary responsibility, the main responsibility of preparation of financial statements is of management. And sir, I have seen many entities, I have seen small entities where there is no different management and there is no different TCWG. I have my brother who is working in a business and he is the owner. Like, he is taking the decisions, he is deciding the strategic direction, and he is doing everything. So in small firms, it may be the case that the management and TCWG are same. Like, the same persons are managing the entity, same persons are deciding the strategic direction of the entity. But in bigger companies, they are different. There is another management, different management. There is separate TCWG. Okay, yes sir. So why we are studying about this management and TCWG concept? Because we know that the financial statements are prepared by the management of the company, and those management has a vested interest, has a self-interest in manipulating the financial statements. Now you might think, why will management manipulate the financial statements? First of all, what is manipulation? It's basically changing the financial statements in your favor. So why will management manipulate the financial statement? Suppose on the actual financial statement, the loss is 1 crore rupees, but management wants to borrow from bank. Management wants to get more investors. So what will management do is, management will do a fake adjustment and will convert that loss of 1 crore rupees to the profit of 1 crore rupees. So now management has a vested interest. Management has a self-interest in manipulating the financial statements. So now the financial statements are only prepared by the management, who has a vested interest in manipulating the financial financial statement, then how the users will rely on the financial statements? How will users will trust the financial statements, that the financial statements are prepared correctly? Here comes the role of auditor. Here comes the role of auditor. Now the auditor audits the financial statement. The financial statement is audited by the auditor. Those audited financial statements are relied upon by all the users of the financial statement. That is why audit is the main important thing, most important thing in a financial statements. And now, first of all, okay, so this we have understood. Okay, this is the audit is why audit is required, because the financial statements have to be relied upon or trusted upon by many of the users of the financial statements. So that users trust the financial statements, we do an audit of the financial statements. Now tell me, can the auditor be connected with the management? Like suppose the management's husband, suppose we have a CEO and her husband is only the auditor of the same entity. Now, as an auditor, if I am the husband of the CEO of the entity and I am the auditor of the entity, then will I be unbiased? Will I do partiality? Will I show biasness? Will I show, okay, this is my wife's entity, if I do any kind of a mistake or if I point out any kind of a mistake, my wife will beat me at the home. So can I show any unbiasedness? No sir, I will be always biased. I have my self-vested interest in that particular entity. So here it says that the auditor cannot be connected to the entity in any of the way, in personal, financial, business, any of the we cannot have any of the relationships with the entity. So the auditor should be independent. The word is what? Independent. Repeat with me, independent. Independent in the main word. We the same way we do not care about misstatements, we care about material misstatement. The same way we do not care about auditor, we care about independent auditor. The auditor should be independent. What is independence and why independence? That we will cover basically definitely in detail in your syllabus. But just for now, you just need to know that the auditor should be independent of the entity that he is auditing, so that the auditor can give a unbiased opinion, unbiased report. Okay, yes sir. Now, what does an independent auditor do? The independent auditor audits the financial statements and then give assurance to the users of the financial statement. What does an auditor do, sir? An auditor gives assurance to the users of the financial statements. Now, what is the word assurance? What is assurance? Let's understand what is assurance. So, assurance is basically saying something like, okay, if you are watching this batch, if you are watching this 100% English batch, then I assure you that you can easily get exemption in audit after watching this batch. This is what? This is, I am giving you an assurance that if you are watching this batch, then you can definitely get an exemption, easily get an exemption. So basically assurance means increasing confidence of a counterparty, increasing confidence of the other party. So here what does an auditor do is, auditor increases the confidence of users in the financial statements. So if I have audited the financial statements and I am giving you assurance that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF, that means I'm increasing your confidence in the financial statements. Whose confidence? Users of financial statements confidence. So that is why we say that the auditors give assurance to whom? Users of financial statement. About what? Financial statements. Okay, yes sir. Why it is given? To increase confidence of users in the financial statement. So this independent auditor gives assurance to users of financial statements. Till now it is very clear. Now comes the technical part of audit. So in the audit, the main thing, the first and foremost thing that we do is risk. We identify risk. Now, what is a risk? So basically, there in an entity, there may be many different kinds of risk, different types of risk. There may be n number of risk in an entity. So for example, obviously we cannot discuss all the type of risk in the first lecture, but to take an example, we are articles, okay, and we know that we are articles and we are into audit domain. Suppose you have done your articleship in audit, then it is relevant to you, you can understand better. So we are going on an audit of a company, okay, and we have done some traveling expenses, and we are, suppose our traveling expenses is 100 rupees. Now as an article, have you ever shown the actual number of expenses, actual amount of expenses that you have done? No sir, we haven't claimed the actual amount of expenses. We have always claimed the more amount of expenses than the actual. Okay, our traveling expenses is 100 rupees. We have traveled in auto, or might be we have walked to the client place, but we will show that we have went through cab, and we will claim the travel expense of 500 to 1000 rupees. So please don't talk about our mischiefs here, sir. I don't want to talk about our mistakes, so don't worry about it. I'm just saying that this is a risk. The risk is that the articles are filing bogus claim expenses. Bogus means fake claim expenses. They have not done the expenses actually, but they are filing the expense claims which they have not done. So they are filing bogus expense claim. This is a risk for whom, sir? This is a risk for the entity, because there is a financial money involved here. So now there is a risk that the article may be claiming more than that they actually desire or entitled to. So now here there is a risk. Wherever there is a risk, there is a control. There should be a control in an entity. Now here, what can be a control, sir? Here we can keep a control that the manager, articles manager, the one who is a senior to the article and one who is managing the article's work, the manager should be approving all the claims, because the manager knows that how much the article would have spent on that particular thing, that particular traveling or any other thing that which the article is claiming expense for. Manager knows everything about articles. So manager should be approving the claims of article. Only then the claims will be processed by the firm. This is what? This is a control. So this is so we have there are many risks in the organization, and then there should be many controls in the organization for all those risks. This is the kind of testing that we do in audit. We just don't have to look at the financial statements amount. We also have to look first and foremostly to the risk that is present in the organization and what all controls that are applied by the organization to control that risk. And those controls are called internal controls. Look at here. Those controls are called what, sir? They are called internal controls. So what is an internal control? What is the definition of the internal control? They are basically all the systems, all the processes that are implemented by the management to achieve organization's objective. What is an organization objective, sir? There are different kinds of objectives. One of the objective is that to utilize the resources efficiently in an optimum manner. So this objective, to achieve this objective, we have designed a system or process through which the articles filing expense claims will be approved by the manager. This will ensure that all the financial resources of the firm are utilized in an optimum manner. The article doesn't take any advantage of the financial resources of the firm. So this is the case. Internal control are designed systems and processes that are implemented by management. Just think over it. Internal control is basically internal to the entity. Entity is run by whom, sir? Management. So who is responsible for internal control, sir? Management. As an auditor, what I have to do, sir? I have to check internal controls as well. I don't have to just check financial statements. You will definitely be getting there are different layers to it. We will just be peeling one layer one by one. Okay. So here management is responsible for internal control, but we have to check the internal control whether they are working correctly or not. And if I get to know that the manager is not approving the claims of the article, then that means that the control is not working properly. And if the control is not working properly, then we do not have to say, okay, control is not working properly. There is a word that is deficiency, which says that there is a deficiency in internal control. Deficiency means what? The control is not working properly, or the control is not there. Either the control is missing or the control is not working properly. That means there is a deficiency in internal control. Okay. Yes, don't worry about it. If you are able to understand what I'm trying to say, that is very great. If you're not able to understand, then don't worry about it. We will definitely be covering all these things in the later part of the lectures as well. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yes, sir. So now till now what we have done is we have understood what is risk. We have understood what is control. So basically just giving an example, and we have understood what is an internal control. Now, we know that there is a risk in the organization. For identifying those risks, we perform risk assessment procedure. What is a procedure, sir? So basically any action, any activity that is done by an auditor is called procedure. There are different kinds of procedure, which will obviously be doing on a CA final audit syllabus. But yeah, procedure is basically what we do is a procedure. Now, the one of the procedure is risk assessment procedure. With the name, it is clear that when we are assessing the risk, when we are identifying the risk, okay, in this organization, there is this risk, this risk, this risk, this risk. Okay, this risk is low, this risk is medium, this risk is high. So when we are doing all these things, these are called risk assessment procedures. In short, we call it RAP. Yeah. So risk assessment procedure. In the risk assessment procedure, there are different types of procedure. One is inquiry, basically asking questions from the management, asking questions from the entity. What is financial statements? How do you prepare financial statements? What is the process? How do the process work? So any of the questions that you ask is covered in inquiry. Second is analytical procedures. So what is analytical procedures? The name itself says that we do some analysis in terms, okay, so previously your gross profit ratio was 40% and current year gross profit ratio was 20%. Why has the gross profit ratio reduced? We will compare any of the things, and relationships and any comparisons that we do are all covered in analytical procedure. I'm covering it thoda fast pace, quite fast pace, because obviously these all things in detail will be covered in other standards and other lectures. So you just have to get a basis of what is included or what is audit specifically. So what we are saying is, we are currently doing risk assessment procedure in which we do inquiries for identifying risk. Basically we do three types of procedure. We do inquiries, we also do analytical procedures, and we do observation and inspection. Observation is basically looking at a person doing at a process. So someone is doing a process and we are just looking at it. Inspection is basically all the checking documents and everything. Physical verification, we are doing a physical verification of the asset. So these are all included in risk assessment procedure. Why do we do risk assessment procedure, sir? You know, our main objective was to identify material misstatement, because if there is a material misstatement, which means that the financial statements are not prepared as per AFRF, which means that our main objective is to identify financial statements and material misstatements are there or not. So I say that, sir, we have to identify what? We have to identify material misstatement. And before that, we have to identify risk of material misstatement, which means that how much is the risk that there in this financial statement, there is a material misstatement. So this is called risk of material misstatement, which we have to identify, or which we will call in short ROMUM. What will we call it? ROMUM. How much ROMUM is there in the financial statements, that we will have to identify through risk assessment procedure. After we have identified the ROMUM, okay, we say, okay, so this is data. In data, there is low ROMUM. Suppose I say that data, there is low ROMUM. So after doing all the risk assessment procedure, we have to do further audit procedure. So name is very clear, further audit procedure, that is done further or after the risk assessment procedure. In short, we call it FAP. So yes, FAP, further audit procedure. Now in the further audit procedure, there are two types of procedures. First is test of controls. Controls, you know, here we have studied what is internal controls. So here now we are testing those internal controls, whether the controls are being properly run by the entity or not. In the test of controls, which we call TOC. What do we call it, sir? TOC, test of controls. I know you might have heard all these terms in inter as well, but this is basics and you need to understand, or you need to know what the basics says, so that you can develop your CA final audit syllabus from now here. So what I am saying is, for a further audit procedure, there are two types. First is test of controls. In test of controls, we are testing all the internal controls in the organization, that is TOC. Now in controls, there is three things. One is design, one is implementation, and one is operating effectiveness. What is design? So basically what I am saying is, first of all, we test the design of the internal control. So design is basically, suppose there is a risk that the article might file a bogus expense claim, and we have developed a control that the manager would be approving the claims. But what I have done is, I have not selected the manager from the audit team itself. I have selected the manager of tax team. Now the article is of audit department, but the manager is of tax department. Now is the design of the control correct? No. Why it's not correct? Because the tax manager would not know what expenses were to be filed by audit articles, and he will just simply approve all the expenses because he do not know about the audit articles. Here, if it was an audit manager, then it would have said that the design of the control is correct, because now the audit manager knows where the audit article has to spend. Okay, yes sir, this is first testing the design of the control. Second is implementation, whether the control is only just exists on the paper, or whether actually the manager is approving the claims, whether there we can see the sign of the manager on all the claims that is processed by the articles. We have to check that whether the design and implementation is correct or not, and this design and implementation is automatically checked when we are doing the risk assessment procedure. Here is the risk, here is the control. Is the risk control correct? Is the control implemented? And now in the further audit procedures, we are testing the operating effectiveness of control. What's our operating effectiveness of control? What is operating effectiveness? Whether the control is working as intended, whether the manager is actually checking the claims of the article or not, or he is just signing, he is not just checking the claims. Because when I got to know, when I checked that the supporting that was provided by the article was of 100 rupees only, and the claim that was filed by the article was of 1000 rupees. Now if the control was working properly, if the manager was checking the claims properly, he would have noticed this difference. But he didn't notice this difference because the control is not operating effectively. The manager is not checking the claims properly. Okay, so now in the further audit procedures, first of all, we are testing the controls operating effectiveness, whether the controls is operating effectively or not. After the controls testing is done, now we are getting moving on to the amounts part, the financial statements. In financial statements, there are many of the amounts. So now we are amount testing. For amounts testing, the name is substantive procedures. What is the name? Substantive procedures. In further audit procedure, there is test of controls, and second there is substantive procedure. In substantive, basically substantive procedure is amount testing. In substantive procedures, basically we want to highlight or we want to identify the material misstatement on the financial statements. So here what we were identifying? Here we were identifying the deficiencies. Okay, here we were identifying the deficiencies, because in controls there is a deficiency. In controls there is no material misstatement. In financial statements there is a material misstatement, and in substantive procedures we are trying to identify the material misstatement in the financial statements. Okay, yes sir, this is clear. Now substantive procedure also has two types. One is test of details and second is substantive analytical procedure. What is test of details? TOC, test of controls. TOD, test of details. Now test of details is basically checking all the ledgers, scrutinizing all the ledgers, verifying all the balances, verification of the transactions. Now suppose I have sales transaction of 100 rupees. Now I will check, okay, so sales transaction are divided into 10 transactions, each transaction is of 10 rupees. So I will check whether the goods have been received, whether the goods have been dispatched or not, whether we have received the amount from the datas or not, whether the invoice was generated of 10 rupees or not. So basically checking the amount of the financial statement is called test of details. By obviously seeing all the supporting documents and everything that we have, we will be discussing in the syllabus. Secondly is substantive analytical procedure. So here it's also analytical procedure and here it's also substantive analytical procedure. What is the difference? The difference is basically the mode, the nature that we are using the analytical procedure for. Here we are using the analytical procedures for identifying the risk, for assessing the risk. But here we are using the analytical procedure for testing the amounts. So when we are using the analytical procedure as a substantive procedure, it is called substantive analytical procedure. Sir, I'm not understanding. Sir, everything is going above my head. I'm not trying to understand what you are saying. I'm just saying, just follow me till now. Just hear me patiently. The things which you are able to process, just keep it in your mind. The things which you are not able to process, just throw it out of your mind, because now it's just the time to build your base. If you I know you might have some doubts, but all your doubts in detail we will be covering. Don't think that we have covered everything in detail till now. We will cover everything in detail in next of the lectures. It's just to build your base, just to revise everything that we have covered in CA intermediate audit. Okay, yes sir. So till now we have discussed what are risk, what are control, what is management, what is TCWG, and what is assurance. Now we have to discuss, in the assurance there are different levels or types of assurance. Assurance, you know, right? I assure you that if you do this batch very thoroughly, very clearly, and if you follow all my advices, then you can easily score an exemption in CA final audit. Now we talk about the levels or types of assurance. So there are three levels or types of assurance. One is absolute assurance, second is reasonable assurance, and third is limited assurance. What is the difference between absolute, reasonable, and limited? Okay, so if as an auditor I tell you that I give you an absolute assurance that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF, which means that I am giving you guarantee. I am guaranteeing you that the financial statements are prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework. This is called what? This is absolute assurance. Now as an auditor, can I give an absolute assurance? No, I cannot give an absolute assurance, sir. As an auditor, I cannot say that the financial statements are prepared on the basis of applicable FRF. Why I cannot give absolute assurance? Because there are limitations of audit. Because when I'm doing audit, there are inherent limitations. That are inherent means basically permanent limitations. So there are limitations on my services, limitations on my audit. That is why I cannot give an absolute assurance. I cannot say that with guarantee, with 100% surety, that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. Now, what are these limitations of audit? Obviously, we will be discussing in Essay 200 what are the limitations. But just to give you an example, do you think that if I'm auditing Reliance, which has lakhs of crores of transactions, do you think as an auditor I will be able to check all the transactions? Each and every transaction I will be able to check? Each and every supporting I will be able to check? No sir. If I have to check each and every supporting, then it will take me years, and I don't have years. I have just 1 to 2 months to give a assurance on a whole financial statements of that big corporation. So what we do as an auditor is we do sampling. What is the term? The term is sampling. What is sampling, sir? So basically there are thousands of transactions and we are just testing a handful of transactions, maybe 10, 20, 30 transactions, and we are forming our opinion. We are giving our opinion on all those thousands of transactions. By just testing 10, 20 transactions, whether these 10, 20 transactions are right or not, we are judging those thousands of transactions based on these 10, 20 transactions. Now there is a risk. What risk, sir? What if those 10, 20 transactions are right, but all the transactions are wrong? What if those 10, 20 transactions are wrong and all the transactions are right? We will never got to know about it, because we will be forming our opinion based on the checking of those 10 to 20 transactions only. That means that it is a limitation of audit. We cannot check all the thousands of the transactions. This is the limitation of audit, and that's why even if we have checked everything and even if we are sure that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF, we cannot give you an absolute assurance that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. We cannot give you a guarantee. So, sir, what is the meaning? What is the use of audit then? If you cannot give me a guarantee that financial statements are prepared as per AFRF, then what is the use of audit? Why we are doing audit then? What assurance you are providing me? I will provide you a high level of assurance. I will not provide you a 100% level of assurance, but I will provide you a high level of assurance. I will provide you a reasonable assurance. What do we call it? Reasonable assurance. I will provide you a high level of assurance. For providing you high level of assurance, I will have to do detailed procedures. Procedures means what? The activities which are performed by the auditor are called procedures. So I will have to do detailed procedures. Based on detailed procedures, I will give you a high level of assurance, reasonable assurance. And this reasonable assurance is being given in audit. When I'm doing audit, I'm giving you a reasonable assurance that financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. Okay? Yes, sir. Now, just like audit, there is also review. In review, what we do is we obviously check the financial statements. Just like audit, we do a review as well. But in review, we do not do detailed procedures. We follow very limited procedures. We do very less procedures compared to audit in review. We don't do much work in review. So there is limited procedures, not detailed procedures, limited procedures. So can we provide a reasonable assurance after doing a limited procedure? No, sir. So what kind of assurance can we provide? We can only provide limited assurance. So when we are doing review, we will just be able to provide you with limited assurance. Obviously, there are different standards for different things, but yeah, to just build in base, in review, we provide limited assurance, and this is obviously a lower level of assurance than a reasonable assurance. So first of all, there is the biggest is the absolute assurance, 100% guarantee. After that, there is a high level of reasonable assurance, and after that, there is a limited assurance that is lower level than the reasonable assurance. Okay, yes, sir. So this was basically the three types of assurance that we were talking about. We do not give any time, we cannot give an absolute assurance on any of the case. Okay, yes, sir. Now let's talk about audit. What is the objective of audit? Why we do audit? What are the objective of audit? The first and foremost thing is to check whether the financial statements contain any material misstatements or not. Whether the financial statements have any material misstatements or not. Suppose the financial statement doesn't contain any material misstatement, then can I say that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF? Yes, sir, I can say that, because if the financial statements are not prepared as per AFRF, means there is material misstatement. If there is no material misstatement, means the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF, right? Yes, sir. Now, for this, I have to obtain reasonable assurance. Who have to obtain reasonable assurance? Auditor has to obtain reasonable assurance. Sir, you are confusing me now. You said that the auditor provides the reasonable assurance. Now you're saying that the auditor obtains reasonable assurance. Which one is right? Beta, if as an auditor I have to provide a reasonable assurance, then obviously I will have to first obtain reasonable assurance na. Out of nowhere, I cannot come and say your financial statements are prepared on the basis of AFRF. I have to check whether the financial statements are prepared on the basis of AFRF or not. I have to check whether material misstatement exists or not. So I will have to first take the reasonable assurance myself, and then I will provide this reasonable assurance to users of financial statements. So what I'm trying to say is that we obtain reasonable assurance by how we obtain reasonable assurance, sir? By performing detailed procedures, by obtaining evidences. Okay, we will definitely cover in later half of this lecture. But yes, so basically we obtain reasonable assurance about what? That the financial statements doesn't contain any material misstatement, that the financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. Now, obtaining this reasonable assurance, should I keep this reasonable assurance with me, or should I tell you? Tell the users of financial statements. Obviously, sir, you are doing audit for users of financial statements, so you should tell them. So how I should tell them? I should tell them orally? No, sir. We cannot tell them orally, because orally anyone can just disappear after saying orally. Anyone can just deny that he said orally. So we have to write and give you my reasonable assurance. I will have to write and give you my reasonable assurance. So here comes the picture of audit report. What it is called, sir? It is called audit report. I can write audit report. So we have to prepare what? We have to prepare an audit written report. It is a written report. So we have to provide audit report as per essays. What are essays, sir? These are basically standards on auditing. What are standards on auditing? We will be discussing in just next few minutes. Okay. So basically it says that we have to obtain reasonable assurance and we have to provide the reasonable assurance to users by providing a audit report. Why we will provide audit reports, sir? So that to increase the confidence of users in the financial statements. Okay, yes sir, this was basically the objectives. We will be definitely studying again this objective in asset 200. Okay, yes sir. Now let's talk about the audit process. What is the audit process? Now directly I cannot say, okay, yeah, audit has company has called me to do audit, I just went to audit and I just audited the financial statements and gave the report. This is not the case. So there is a proper audit process that is in place. First of all, there is preliminary activities. What it is? Preliminary activities. Preliminary activities. What are the preliminary activities, sir? Company has sent me a notice, a letter that please become my auditor. Now, should I accept that letter or not? Should I accept the auditor position in that particular company or not? Am I independent from that company? All these things. There are many other things which I have to consider before accepting the audit, which are called preliminary activities. You cannot directly just accept the audit and start auditing. You have to consider many other things before accepting the audit. So which is called preliminary activities. Now after accepting the audit, should I start audit directly? No sir, that's the biggest mistake that we are making as a CA student. We should first plan our studies. We should know how many lectures, how many topics, how many time, in what time I will be completing my lectures, in what time I will be starting with the revisions, how many revisions I will have to do, what should be my plan of revisions, what should be the date of revisions. Everything we have to plan, and this plan we have to always make. If you are failing to plan, then you are planning to fail. So here in this case, this applies to that we should plan audit. How we are going to go about it, what areas we are focusing on, how much time we have to devote, when we should review all the work, everything we have to then plan. Then third, after planning, is the execution. That is main procedure, the procedures applying phase, where you are actually applying the procedures which you have planned. So this the execution phase. In the execution phase, you are applying all the audit procedures, and through the procedures you are obtaining audit evidence. So what is audit evidence? So basically, suppose I am applying procedures on, suppose I want to check sales. Okay, now you want to check sales. You know that for sales you might have generated invoice. You have invoice for sales. You know that after sales the amount might have got credited in an account. Then you will check bank statement if the amount is credited or not. If amount is not credited, then the amount will be shown in the data side. So is the amount shown in the data or not? So we will see. We have all these things which we will check by doing audit procedures, and these all things are known as audit evidence. Evidence is basically anything that certifies something, that verifies something. And if we are using the evidence in audit, then it is called audit evidence simply. Now, as an auditor, suppose I have thousands transaction, okay, and I am just taking audit evidence of one transaction. Now, is it sufficient? Is it just done my audit? If that's the case, if I have to obtain audit evidence without any guidance, without any knowledge, without any perspective, then I can definitely finish my audit in one day. Even I can just take one audit evidences from all the transaction and just check, and then tell that my audit is completed and the financial statements are prepared on the basis of applicable FRF. But that's not the case. That not happen. You don't have to just obtain audit evidence. You have to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Look here, what I'm saying. You have to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Oh my god, which is in short it is called SAAE. So what is sufficient and appropriate audit evidence? Just as I told you, we do not concern about misstatement, we concern material misstatement. We do not care about auditor, we care about independent auditor. Same here, we do not care about audit evidence, we care about sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. So we have to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Now what is sufficient? Sufficient is basically quantity. We have to obtain if there are 1,000 transactions, then we cannot be satisfied with one transaction audit evidence. We have to obtain sufficient number of audit evidence, that is quantity of audit evidence. And the audit evidence that we are obtaining should be of quality. Appropriateness means quality. The audit evidence should have quality. Now, what does quality mean, sir? The audit evidence should be relevant to us and the audit evidence should be reliable. What does it mean? Relevance and reliability. What does the relevance and reliability mean? Okay. So now I am going to check datas. Okay. I am going to check datas. I want datas invoices, but the entity has provided me creditors invoices. Now, is that evidence relevant to my procedure? No, sir. My objective is to check datas, but the entity is providing me creditors audit evidence. Is that audit evidence relevant to me? No, sir. That audit evidence is not relevant to me. So the audit evidence should be relevant to what you are going to perform or what your objective is. First is this. Second is reliability. Okay. Suppose you want to check bank transactions. Okay. So you see that the bank balance as on 31st March is 1 crore. Okay. Now you have two options. Either you can ask entity to provide your bank statement PDF. You ask entity provide me a bank statement PDF of March 31st, and then you check, okay, in the bank statement PDF as well, it is showing 1 crore. Okay. Second, you have an option to directly contact the bank. You can directly contact the bank and ask that this is the line that you have and this is my auditor. I am the auditor of that client. So the client had what balance in your bank account. So you can directly, it is called bank confirmation basically. We will definitely be understanding it later in the part of the video. But yeah, this is bank confirmation. You are directly going to the bank and asking the balance of the company in that particular bank on 31st March, and then the bank is confirming you that is 1 crore. Now tell me honestly, which will be more reliable, which you can trust more as an auditor? Think from the auditor perspective, which I can trust more? Something which is provided by the entity, that is PDF, bank statement PDF, and something which is provided by an outside entity, that is bank confirmation. So obviously, if there is something that is provided by the entity might have manipulated it. Entity have a chance to manipulate it. It might be the case that the entity might have edited the PDF from I love PDF. Everyone knows I love PDF. I also love I love PDF. So entity might have edited the bank statement PDF. There is a possibility, but the bank confirmation which we have received directly from the bank, they would not have manipulated the bank confirmation. Why would they manipulate the bank confirmation? They will just doing their work. They have just sent me the bank confirmation of my entity bank account. So I will rely more on the bank confirmation compared to bank statement. So it says that the audit evidence that you are receiving should be sufficient, that is should be of sufficient number of quantity, and should be appropriate, that is it should have quality, that is the audit evidence should be relevant to your objective, and the audit evidence should be reliable as well. It shouldn't be the case that we are just questioning the audit evidence in itself, that it is not reliable. It shouldn't be the case. So we are not concerned with just the audit evidence. We are concerned that we should obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, which is, in other terms, it is called as persuasive audit evidence. What is it called? Persuasive audit evidence. What is persuasive audit evidence? That the audit evidence based on which we can persuade people to believe in what we are saying. So that is called persuasive audit evidence. Okay. Yes, sir. Now, sir, based on this sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, based on this evidence, we will be forming our opinion. As an auditor, what we are forming? Our opinion. What opinion, sir? Whether the financial statements are correct or whether financial statements are not correct. Now, if you are forming an opinion, can I just form an opinion and keep it in my home? No, sir. I will have to dictate, or I will have to specify to the users of financial statements what my opinion is. So orally, can I specify? No, sir. I have to make a audit report. That is the last part of my audit. That is the last part of my audit process, that is audit reporting. Through audit report, I will specify my opinion. I will give my reasonable assurance through audit report. Okay. Yes, sir. This is basically a audit process. Now, in this process, the most important thing is audit documentation. Now, what is audit documentation, sir? Audit documentation is basically when you are documenting, you are writing what all things you have done in audit is called audit documentation. Its other name is working paper. What it is called, sir? Working paper. From the name itself, it is clear. Whatever work you have done in the audit should be on the paper. So when I have done my audit from KPMG, that is one of the big fours, I have done my audit here from KPMG, and in the KPMG it was said that if you are not documenting anything, if you are not writing your work on the paper, then it will be considered that you have not worked. So everything that you do, each and everything that you do should be in your audit documentation. Sir, why it is important? Okay, suppose I have done the audit, I have maintained the audit documentation. Okay, now after a 1 to 2 years, there's obviously a quality review, something kind of a thing. ICI does your review. ICI comes to every firm and then reviews whether the CAs are providing their work with quality or not. Suppose ICI come to your firm and says, okay, I want to review the audit of Reliance Limited. You have done the audit of Reliance Limited and you have not maintained the audit documentation. And after 1 to 2 years, ICI says, I want to review your audit, whether you have done the audit correctly or not, whether you have provided the services with quality or not. Now, do you think you would be able to remember anything after post 1 to 2 years of audit? Like what was done, how did you do it, do you where are the evidences that you took, all the evidences, how you will defend yourself that I have done the audit very correctly? So for all these things, to maintain a control over the audit and to prove that you have done the audit correctly and to know what you have done and to see that you have obtained all the evidences, audit documentation is prepared. So that even after 1 to 2 years, if anyone wants to review what you have done, they can directly review from the audit documentation that you have prepared. That is why audit documentation is much more necessary. And that is why it is said that if you have not prepared the audit documentation, that means you have not done the work. That is why audit documentation is so mandatory. And this was the whole audit process. I hope you have understood everything. And now we are going to move on to the actual syllabus of a CA final audit. Before talking about the syllabus, just assume that you have cleared your CA final examinations. Wow, sir, in the first lecture itself, I am making you the chartered accountant. I am making you clear your CA final exam. So you can definitely say that after completing all the lectures, you are definitely going to clear your CA final audit exam. And then you will be getting all these badges and all the pens that I am having right now. I just wear all the pens and the badges in every lecture. I will be wearing this, and in every YouTube video I wear this, just to make you feel, just to help you manifest that you will be getting these badges and pen yourself too. So yes, you have finally cleared your CA final examinations and now you are applying for membership certificate to Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So finally, after applying membership, you are a chartered accountant. Now once you become a chartered accountant, there are two acts that are applied on you. One is Chartered Accountants Act and second is basically a code of conduct, that is code of ethics. So these two laws or these two frameworks are applied on you once you become a chartered accountant, and these everything will be covered in a chapter that is professional ethics. So professional ethics, you can say it is the biggest chapter of your CA final audit and it is the most easiest chapter of your CA final audit. The way in which we are going to cover it, it will be your biggest and the easiest chapter of CA final audit, that is professional ethics. Professional ethics is basically the moral principles or our behavior professionally. How should we behave, what our ethics should be, what our moral values should be when we are behaving professionally. That is all, everything is covered in professional ethics. That will be covered in detailed. Okay, yes sir. Okay, so now you are chartered accountant. You have 2-3 options of whatever you do after becoming a CA. You can either open your traditional practice, just we see a firm and then we have a partners, then we have CA members doing under ourselves. So we can basically open our practice, open our own individual practice. Second, we have an option to be an employee and any do job, be an employee in any organization, maybe in a firm or anything. Be an employee basically. Third option, we have a business, to do our own business, maybe start our own business, start our own entrepreneurship, start a startup, maybe anything that we can do. And fourth is to do nothing. We just do nothing. We continue our higher studies. So suppose after becoming a CA, you decide that you don't want to do a job, you don't want to do any business, you don't want to do any other thing, you just want to do practice. You want to get into traditional practice, the CA practice. Okay, yes. So now in the CA practice, you have many other options. Like you have many fields in which you can practice in terms of auditing and accounting. You have income taxation, you have GST, you have forensic accounting, forensic auditing, many investment banking. There are many other fields in which you can practice as a chartered accountant. Okay, yes sir. But you decide that there is only one field which have an exclusive, in which the chartered accountants have an exclusive right. That is auditing. The audit can only be done by a chartered accountant and no one else. So you decide that I will be doing my practice in auditing and accounting in this field you are planning to do your practice. Okay, yes sir. So now since you are a chartered accountant, on you there is Chartered Accountants Act, code of ethics, everything applies to you. So any services that you are going to provide, you will have to provide with quality. ICI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, our mother body, just wants one thing, that anything that we are providing through ourselves, through as a chartered accountant, we should be providing it with the quality. And to maintain that quality, to ensure that quality, ICI has made or released different kinds of standards. So there are basically in your syllabus, there are 4 types of standards that we'll be talking about. Each of the standard will be covered in detail. So 4 types of standard will be covered in your whole syllabus of CA final audit. So here it says, first is auditing. You are either doing auditing or you are doing accounting, or many, you can do both as well. So basically auditing and accounting. First of all, to talk about accounting. So accounting is basically what? You are making the financial statements. So here the keyword is compilation. What it says, that compiling, you are compiling the financial information and then you are making a financial statement. So basically you are assisting the management in preparation and presentation of financial statements. In audit, what we do, we check whether the financial statements are as per AFRF or not. In compilation, what we do, we make financial statements, or rather we help management to make financial statements. So it is called compilation of financial information. This is included in accounting. And if you have to do compilation of financial information, you will have to do it as per standards on related services. What it is called, sir? Standards on related services. Just as we have standards on auditing, likewise we have standards on related services. Short form is SRS. So obviously we will cover in detail, but yeah, the standards on related services. And in these standard of related services, now tell me, if I am compiling the financial information, if I am myself making the financial statements, assisting the management in making the financial statements, will I give assurance on the financial statements? Can I give assurance on the financial statements? Will I say, oh, the financial statement which is made by me is correct? Can I say that? Can I give that assurance? No. Why, sir? I am not independent to the entity. I am involved in making the financial statements and I am just saying that my financial statement is correct. I cannot do that, bro. I cannot do that. You will have to hire someone from the outside of the entity who will check your financial statements independently. I have myself made the financial statement, so I cannot say that. So here there is no assurance. No assurance is provided in accounting. When you are compiling the financial statements, you do not provide any assurance. Assurance is what? I assure you that you will clear CA final audit after. You will get an exemption in CA final audit if you watch this lectures closely and thoroughly. So same way, the financial statements are true and fair. Financial statements are as per AFRF. We cannot give this assurance. And there is another kind of SRS, that is second is agreed upon procedures. What it is, sir? Agreed upon procedures. What is agreed upon procedures? That management and the auditor has agreed between themselves what procedures the auditor will apply. Okay, so management has told me you don't have to check full financial statements. You just have to check trade receivables, and in the trade receivables you have to do these procedures only. So management and I have agreed between ourselves what procedures I will be performing on their financial statements. So that is called agreed upon procedures. Even in that case, I cannot give any assurance. I cannot say that financial statements are true and fair because I haven't checked financial statements based on my standards. I have checked financial statements based on procedures that is sent by management. So that's the case. That is why this is called agreed upon procedures, and that is why we do not provide any assurance. So just for now, we know that in accounting, there is one standard, that is standards on related services, and there are 2 types of services that we have talked of. Okay, yes, sir. Now let's come to auditing. In auditing is basically we are checking something. Now checking something, there are 2 kinds of things that we can check. Either we can check historical financial statements. What is historical financial statements? Are financial statements which are prepared on the basis of past events, history. All the financial statements that you have studied, that you have made till now from your class 11 to your CA inter CA final, are all historical financial statements because that were based on the past events, past transactions, past everything, like for the year ended as of 31st March. So these are all historical financial statements. And secondly, you can give assurance on other than historical financial statements as well. Now, what is other than historical financial statements are? It can be future financial statements. The financial statements which are predicting the future of the entity, which are basically the keyword for that is prospective financial statements. What are prospective financial statements? Are anything which will happen in future. We are assuming what actions will entity take, and based on that we are preparing a financial statement. That is called prospective financial financial statements. So other than historical financial statements can be prospective financial statements, can be internal controls. I told you in internal controls, so we basically when we are auditing financial statements, we give assurance on the financial statements, but entity can also tell us to give assurance on controls, that our controls are operating effectively or not. If we have to give a separate opinion on controls only, then it is other than historical financial statements. Anything which is historical, which is not historical financial statements and on which we are providing our assurance, that is other than historical financial statements, right? Yes, sir. Okay, so what I was saying is, other than historical financial statements, we can provide assurance, and on historical financial statements, we can provide assurance. Anything which is other than historical financial statements, if we are providing an assurance on it, then it is called standards on assurance engagement, that is SAE. What it is called, sir? Standards on assurance engagement. Ideally, assurance is everything. Even we are providing assurance on historical financial statements, but just to differentiate, they have told that anything if you are providing other than historical financial statements, if you are providing assurance, then standards on assurance engagements will apply. That is SAE. Here what it was, SRS, standards on related services. Here it's SAE, standards on assurance engagement. Okay, yes, sir. Now let's talk about historical financial statements. We have already discussed that historical financial statements, if you want to provide assurance, either we can do audit or either we can do review. We have discussed it earlier. There is audit, different types of assurance, level of assurance. There is audit and then there is review. So yes, there is two types of assurance that we can provide on historical financial statements, audit and review. If you are providing audit, if you are doing audit, then standards on auditing will be applicable, SAs. First of all, we will be starting with this SAs only. And if you are doing review, then standards on review engagement will be applicable. Now, what is our engagement here? Engagement doesn't mean these engagement, buddy. Don't get it there. Engagement doesn't mean these engagement. Is basically the auditor or maybe the chartered accountant is engaged by the company to provide those services. So if I'm the auditor in the company, so we have an engagement that I have to provide those audit services, review services, any of the services to that particular company. So that is why here the word is engagement. So here, if you're doing audit, standards on auditing, review, standards on review engagement, SRE, which is called. Okay? Yes, sir. Here we ourselves perform procedures that is given in the standards. But if we are performing those procedures which are agreed with the management, then it is called agreed upon procedures, and then the standard which will be applied is standards on related services. Okay, yes, sir, we have understood everything. This is our chart. Basically, these are all the standards that is covered in our CA final syllabus. Now let's break down our CA final syllabus. What else covered in CA final syllabus? First, I have personally broken down the CA final syllabus in 4 sections. First section is basically your standards on auditing. All the standards on auditing, majorly you have covered all the standards on auditing on Inter. Few of the standards on auditing are new, which you will study for the first time in CA final. Okay, yes, sir. So these standards on auditing carry a weightage of 45 to 55 marks. So almost half of the syllabus is your standards on auditing. And Inter, your almost you can say 70% of the syllabus was standards on auditing. Here CA final, almost 50% of your syllabus is standard on auditing. Now what all standards are covered? SA 200, 200 series to 700 series you have already covered in CA Inter. Few of the standards might have been there which are new to you in CA final as well. SA 800 series is new for you. CARO 2020 you have already covered. Duties of auditor, that is section 143(1). Company audit you have already covered. Risk assessment and internal control, some parts you have already covered in CA intermediate. So this is all the section talks about. And then there is one more type of standard. If you were thinking about that type of standard when I was discussing this, then congratulations, you have a very sharp memory. That type of standard is standards on quality control. Now, what is standard SQC? SQC is standard on quality control 1. So there is only one standard in this particular series of standard, that is SQC 1, which talks about that we have to provide quality. In any of the services that we are providing, we have to provide quality. So SQC 1 applies on standards on auditing as well, and all these 3 other types of standards as well. So it applies to all types of standards because we have to maintain quality in any of the services that we are providing. Okay, yes, sir. So this is covered in this particular section only. Second section is your other standards, or you can say special standards. I can write here special standards as the students say it. Special standard. What are special standards, sir? These are of 10 to 15 marks. 2 or 3 questions can be asked from these standards. These are SRE, standards on review engagement, SAE, standards on assurance engagement, SRS, standards on related services. Okay, yes. Next, third section is professional ethics. Professional ethics is of 20 to 25 marks. This is just one chapter. This is just the biggest chapter of CA final audit. 20 to 25 marks is definitely asked from this chapter, and this is the most easiest chapter of CA final audit, I can tell you. So this is your professional ethics, that is third section, and then is your other audits. Other audits is of around 25 to 35 marks, and it has all those other topics like PSU audit, group audit, digital audit, bank audit, NBFC, internal audit, SDG and ESG assurance, due diligence, investigation, forensic accounting. These some of the topics we might have heard in intermediate, but many of the topics are new for CA final, and these topics are particularly more ratification based, more learning based. These are not some conceptual topics. These are more on the ratification side. These topics are more on conceptual clarity side. These are also ratification because ICAI has also told that they will be asking knowledge based questions from these essays, from these standards. So these are more on a ratification side, and these are also more on a ratification side. We will definitely be telling you all the approaches that you have to follow while following each of the sections, so that you know clearly what you have to do and how you have to do it. Okay, yes sir, till now we are done with the syllabus of CA final audit. Let's get done with the small things which are mandatory for us, or which are the basics for building our CA final audit block. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the word firm. What is a firm? Sir, we will hear word firm many times in our CA final audit syllabus. Firm, it doesn't mean just only partnership. Many people confuse firm with partnership, that partnership firm, so firm is only partnership. No, proprietorship can be a firm, partnership can be a firm, LLP can be a firm. Anything which does businesses, anything which provides services, goods, anything, that is called firm. Okay, yes sir. In the firm we have human resources, the people who are actually working in the firm, who are actually getting the firm running. And in audit, the most important person, the person who is called the auditor of the company, the person who signs the financial statements of the company, because you know how we will know that the financial statements are audited, because the audited financial statements heading will be there. Auditor will sign the financial statements, auditor will mention his firm name, anything and everything we will discuss. But yeah, the sign of the auditor is the main thing. The financial statements will be signed by the auditor, and doing the audit is the responsibility of the auditor. Now the auditor here, the most important human resource in an audit is called engagement partner. What it is called, sir? Engagement partner. Engagement word, you know, this is engagement, and partner, which is the main important person in a partnership firm, that is partner. So engagement partner is a person who has the responsibility for audit, and he signs the financial statements. Now tell me, we have to do audit of Reliance. Now can the engagement partner alone do the audit of Reliance? No sir, he will require a team. Why we are there, why article are there, why employees are there? So basically we will have an audit engagement team. So basically engagement partner will have different managers, will have different team members, seniors, articles, and that will constitute an audit engagement team. These are collectively called what, sir? Audit engagement team. These are basic terms that you should know. These are called audit engagement team. So basically those collective people who are working on a particular audit engagement, suppose Reliance audit engagement, then these particular collective people are called audit engagement team. Okay, yes sir, till now I hope everything is clear to you. Now comes the most interesting part. This is covered in your SA 700 series. Just let's recall what we have studied. So to talk about the types of opinion, there are two types of opinion majorly. One is unmodified opinion, and second is modified opinion. Unmodified opinion as a word itself says that the opinion is clean. We have not modified, not changed the opinion. We have directly used the opinion as it is. Then it is called unmodified opinion, basically, which is given when the financial statement doesn't have any material misstatements. But if we talk about the modified opinion, which means that we have changed our opinion. We have changed our opinion, then there can be three changes in the opinion. Either the modified opinion can be qualified, adverse, or disclaimer of opinion. What can be, sir? Qualified, adverse, or disclaimer of opinion. Okay, so now when qualified, when disclaimer, when adverse, we will obviously discuss in detail in our SA 700 series, but for now you can get to know. So first of all, we know that if the financial statements are not material misstated. There is a misstatement in the financial statement, but it is not material. Will we issue a unmodified opinion or a modified opinion? We will issue an unmodified opinion. If misstatement is there but it is not material, then we will issue a unmodified opinion. But if misstatement is there and it is material, then we will issue a modified opinion. Now, what kind of modified opinion, sir? It will depend on pervasiveness. What do I say it? How do I say it? Pervasiveness. So it will depend on the pervasiveness of the misstatement. What is pervasiveness? Sorry, so heavy terms. Or what is pervasiveness? Pervasiveness is basically how much the misstatement is spreaded in the financial statements. The spreadedness of the misstatement in the financial statement is called pervasiveness. How much big is the misstatement actually? How much impact does the misstatement actually carries on the financial statements? For example, if I have to tell you, suppose there is a misstatement in an inventory. 10% of inventory is missing and the inventory is 10% of the total asset. So total asset, suppose 100 rupees, inventory is 10 rupees, and in the 10 rupees, 10% of the inventory means 1 rupee of the inventory has a misstatement. This misstatement, as per me, as per an auditor, is material misstatement. Is it a pervasive misstatement? Is it spreaded in the whole financial statements? No. Then it is called non-pervasive material misstatement, which will fall into this category, which is material but not pervasive. Now, same example, suppose there is 100 rupees of asset and we say that 90% of the asset is inventory and 90% of the asset is misstated. Now, can I say that this misstatement of 90 rupees is spreaded to the whole financial statement? Because it substantially covers the whole financial statement. It substantially affects the whole financial statements. Therefore, I can say that this misstatement is what? Pervasive. And that's what I can say here, that it will be covered here, material and pervasive. Now, this is the first criteria. Second criteria that we have to think of is whether we were able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence or not. What is sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, sir? We had already discussed that sufficiency basically quantity and appropriateness basically quality. It may be the case that we are not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, right? We have tried everything, but we are not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Now tell me what we have to do. So if we have obtained the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then these will be the cases. And if we are not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then these will be the cases. Okay, yes, sir. So basically we have to check two things in material misstatement. Either it is pervasive or not, and second, whether we have received sufficient and appropriate audit evidence or not. So if it is material, but it is not pervasive, it is not spreaded in the financial statement and the whole of the financial statements, then we will always issue a qualified opinion whether the sufficient appropriate audit evidence is received, whether sufficient audit evidence is not received. So qualified opinion is for material but low amount of misstatements which are not spreaded in the financial statements. But if this material and pervasive, and we have already received the audit evidence that the misstatement is material and pervasive, then we will issue a adverse opinion. Which opinion, sir? Adverse opinion. Now, what opinion? What do we actually write in opinion? Everything will be covered later, but just to give you a glance, just to give you a gist. Okay, so if we have an audit sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that misstatement is material and pervasive, then we will issue an adverse opinion. But if we do not have a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence and we think that the misstatement which might be present here will be material as well as pervasive, then we will issue a disclaimer of opinion. Disclaimer of opinion is as good as saying that we will not give our opinion. So what it says that disclaimer of opinion. So I hope you are now getting my point that if the misstatement is not pervasive, then qualified. If it is pervasive and sufficient and appropriate audit evidence is received, then adverse. If it is pervasive and sufficient and audit evidence is not received, then it is disclaimer of opinion. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay. So these were about the types of opinion that we have to study. Now there are additional notes in the audit report as well. There are additional things which we mentioned in the audit report apart from the opinion. What are the additional things, sir? First is key audit matter. What is key audit matter? Key word is important here. Key is what? Most important. What do we say? Key means what? Most important. Most important audit matter. So basically these are paragraphs that we can add in our audit report. So key audit matter is one of the paragraph that we can add in our audit report. When we will add a key audit matter paragraph in our audit report? When to identify or to describe those matter which is most significance in the audit of the financial statement. As an auditor, suppose I took more time in checking revenue, or I see that revenue is the most important matter, or I am taking so much of time in in checking revenue, then for me as an auditor, this is the most significant matter in the audit of financial statements. So this matter I will write in the auditor's report under the heading key audit matter. Okay, yes. Second is the what? Emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. What do I say it? EOM and OM paragraph. What is EOM and OM paragraph, sir? So basically any of the matter which we think that it is fundamental, important, so that user can understand the financial statements better, it is called emphasis of matter paragraph. So basically, suppose if I say that there is a fire. Okay, there is a fire in the factory during the year, and that fire is disclosed in the financial statements. And I think that that the users should definitely draw their attention. I should draw the user's attention to this fire disclosure in the financial statements, so that they get to know why the financial statements are showing this much loss this year. So what I will do is I will add an emphasis of matter paragraph in my auditor's report, and then I will write, okay, there was a fire, and you can refer all the disclosures in the financial statements that is given there in this note number. So basically anything which is fundamental, important to users' understanding of the financial statements will be disclosed in emphasis of matter paragraph. And vice versa, if anything that is fundamental to users' understanding of audit or maybe auditor's report will be disclosed in other matter paragraph. Anything which I have to convey from my side, anything which I think that it is important that users should know, then I can disclose it in other matter paragraph. For example, suppose there is a joint audit, two auditors are jointly auditing the same entity, then I will disclaim, those two joint auditors are issuing a separate report, then I will disclose in my other matter paragraph that there is a other report of the other joint auditors, please read that report as well. So this is just an example. Obviously we will be discussing many examples about emphasis of other matter paragraph, but other matter paragraph is given so that users can better understand my audit and auditor's report. It is not for the financial statements. For financial statements, we will give emphasis of matter paragraph. Okay, yes sir, in detail we will be discussing, don't worry about it. Okay, this was just an overview. Now, if management imposes a limitation on scope, what is limitation on scope? So basically, suppose I have to check your financial statements. I go and check your financial statements, and I tell your management that management, I want to obtain evidence about inventory. Management says, no, I will not allow you to obtain your evidence about inventory. Now, as an auditor, can I just put a handcuff in the management's hand and tell them that I want to check inventory? I will check inventory whether you want to do anything, or I can just be a daya of CID and I can just push the door back and just check inventory? No, I cannot do that because I don't have power to do that. What max I can do is I can just request the management. I can just, Vicky, please allow me to check the inventory. I can say this to management. But even after this, if the management is putting a limitation on my scope, that is limitation on my work, then what I will do is then I will check. If because of the limitation, the sufficient and I'm not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. If I'm not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, then the effect is material and pervasive, or it is material and not pervasive. I will have to check that. Suppose the effect of misstatement is material but not pervasive, then I will issue a qualified opinion as it is. But if there is something that is so much significant and management is not allowing me to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence such that the effect of the misstatement is material and pervasive, matlab it is the big misstatement and management is hiding something from me, then there can be fraud as well. So in that case, either we can issue a disclaimer of opinion or we can withdraw from the engagement. Obviously, firstly, we have first priority is this, to withdraw from the engagement, and second, if not possible, then we can disclaim an opinion. So what is withdrawing from the engagement? Withdrawing is basically, you can write here, resigning. Withdrawing is what, sir? Resigning. Obviously, you don't have to make this handwritten notes. I'm just writing it here. Resigning. What does resigning means? That I am not your auditor from now. You are not allowing me to check financial statements. I'm not your auditor. I'm withdrawing from your engagement. I cannot audit you. If the effect of the misstatement is both material and pervasive, matlab it was a very big misstatement and you are not allowing me to check it. Okay, yes sir. So this was a kind of a thing that is covered in SA 705. And lastly, pakka, lastly, it's almost just 2 hours. In 2 hours we will wrap this up. So lastly, there are two words that you need to understand very carefully. One is going concern and second is written representation. Going concern, short form is GC. Going concern, sir, we have already heard about this in our childhood. Childhood means whenever I say childhood, you need to understand that it's 11th and 12th. So in our childhood, we have already heard about fundamental accounting accounting assumption, and going concern is a fundamental accounting assumption. What is a fundamental accounting assumption? We do not have to state this assumption in our financial statements. It is obviously assumed that if financial statements are made, then they are made on the basis of going concern. What is going concern, sir? On this basis that the entity will continue to operate for a foreseeable future. Entity will continue to operate for a foreseeable future. There is no intention to liquidate the entity, to close the entity, to cease the operations, and there is no realistic alternative to do so. Management wants to continue the business for a foreseeable future unlimitedly. Okay, yes sir, this is called what? Going concern. Now, whether the entity is a going concern have to be assessed, whether my entity is a going concern or not. This assessment is performed by auditor? No. This assessment is performed by management, but it is checked by auditor. Auditor has to check whether management has performed the assessment or not, and whether the assessment is correct or not. But performing the going concern assessment, whether our entity is going concern or not, is the responsibility of management. Okay, yes sir. Second point is written representation. What is written representation? Okay, so what I'm saying is, you learn about, you remember about preliminary engagement activities. Before accepting the audit, we have to check whether we should accept the audit or not, whether we are independent of the client or not. And in that particular thing, we have to agree the terms of engagement. What we have to do is, we have to agree the terms of engagement. Now, what are the terms of engagement? So basically, we cannot do audit just like that. We have to agree. We have to make an agreement between me and the management. In the terms of engagement, we have to write what is my responsibility, what is management responsibility, what is the AFRF that we are using, what is the report that I will be providing, what is the objective and scope of audit. Everything we have to write in this terms of engagement. So everything that is written in this term of engagement, suppose we have written management responsibility in this term of engagement. Okay. Suppose management responsibility, there is one primary responsibility of management is financial statements are prepared as per AFRF. This is management responsibility, and we have to check that management has fulfilled its responsibility or not. Okay, yes sir. Now, management has agreed in the terms of engagement that it is accepting its responsibility for preparing the financial statements based on AFRF. Now, when the financial statements are already prepared, when the audit is already done, at the last, I will ask the management to send me a written representation, that is a written letter to me specifying that management has fulfilled all its responsibilities. Because at the starting, you promised me that you will fulfill your responsibility. Now, at the end of the audit, promise me or tell me or write it to me or write and give it to me that you have fulfilled all your responsibilities. So this is just a written representation. Management is representing that whatever responsibilities that we have promised earlier, we have fulfilled all those responsibilities. And obviously not just responsibilities, we can take many of the things in written with the management in this written representation. Just one example was fulfillment of management responsibility, whether management has fulfilled its responsibility or not. That we can take from management from written representation. Okay, yes sir, this was your first lecture which covers all the basic terms that will be used in your CA final audit batch. We will be obviously we will be revising all the things that we understand and we have read now in the further lectures as well. If you liked this lecture, please like the lecture. If you are watching it on YouTube, please like the lecture. That will definitely motivate me to put my best in this particular batch. And obviously do comment down CA with your name to make a manifestation that you're definitely going to clear your CA exams in this particular attempt. And do give me your feedbacks as well on how you are going to, how well is the batch going on. Okay, yes sir, everything you want to know about your batches, where to find the handwritten notes, how to start your batches, what should be your approach while watching the lectures, whether you should do self-study or not, anything and everything, how you should do homework, everything and anything is covered in this intro video. So please watch this intro video that will be uploaded on 1st February on your softwares. Okay, yes sir. So as I always say, this time audit we have to score exemption, and bas du'a mein yaad rakhna. Keep me in your prayers. Thank you. Bye bye.